So, good morning, everyone. The simple answer is yes, and that's my take-home message. But let's go into details. We're in the middle of a digital revolution, and we're living in times of big data, where 170 million emails are being sent in just 1 minute, and hundreds of thousands of Google queries and Facebook posts. As we go shopping, as we move around, that adds to this heap of big data. This big data is being processed by artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is increasing in power, at least exponentially over time. Some people expect a singularity to happen this century, maybe pretty soon. That means super intelligent machines that would be smarter than us. With Anderson's dream back in 2008 was that we would see the end of theory. The data deluge would make the scientific method obsolete, a position that scientists usually don't share. But anyway, the idea was, let's collect a lot of data and let's see what's wrong in the world and let's fix the system where it's broken. And so it's also appealing and easy, and people have proposed to build a crystal ball that would allow us to see what's happening in the world in every corner in real time, and maybe even to look a bit into the future with predictive analytics. And people have been asking, can we now know everything? Can we understand the human body, brain, and personality with that God's eyes view that's becoming available eventually? For sure, there are great benefits in medicine and many other areas of society, as has been pointed out already by the previous speakers. In medicine, we're seeing tailored doctors, digital pathology, personalized medicine. So this is all ongoing. Artificial intelligence can diagnose cancer in many cases better than many doctors. And we are heading towards personalized or high precision medicine, as people say, because every person, everybody is different and responds to medicine in a different way. And so we'd like to increase the effectiveness and reduce side effects. And for this, digital doubles are being built of every one of us that have information about our income, about our consumption patterns, about our social network, personality, psychology, and health. Just to give you an idea where some people see artificial intelligence heading in the area of health, people are working in particular also to fix behavioral health, and they say the end game is to come up with a model designed for patients that is fine-tuned to recognize evolved patterns of intersecting clinical, behavioral, mental, environmental, and genetic information. And to give you an idea where we may be heading, I recommend you to have a look at the brochure called After the Virus, or also the brochure of the World Economic Forum about the Internet of Bodies. However, there is a challenge. So artificial intelligence is pretty powerful and smart, but it cannot do everything. We've seen that when it comes to the prediction of COVID-19, for example. There are uncertainties, and these uncertainties are so big that one of the big success stories of big data, Google Through Trends, had to go offline some time ago already. So we have to see the limitations of this technology as well. We should not blindly trust that technology. We need explanatory, we need trustful, and we need fair AI. Are we already there? For sure, a new world is emerging. There's a new currency. This currency is big data. Big data is the new oil, people often say, and it's maybe most visible with the cryptocurrencies that have increased in value sometimes by 10,000%, incredible increases in value. There's a new economy, often called attention economy, where basically our attention is the scarce resource that's being marketed. There are new jobs. We don't know, however, whether there are going to be enough new jobs in the next few years. So that's going to be a challenge because it will be a major transformation in our economy. Also note that robots are paying no taxes yet, while we have to pay pretty high taxes. Is this a fair competition? I'm not sure. We're seeing a new legal system. Code is law. That means algorithms determine increasingly what is possible and what not. There is policing in a digital way, predictive policing sometimes, and it may go so far in some countries that not only kind of burglary and theft and murder and these kind of crimes are being prevented by digital policing, but actually also our behavior would be judged, as the Karma Police program of the British Secret Service does, for example. Are we heading to a new society? Companies that worked on automated smart cities and smart nations. Can we run societies like a huge machine? We have to be careful. China is trying to do that actually, but many people think this has actually created a totalitarian digital state with the social credit score basically valuing people and policing behavior. But we should also be critical about what is happening over here in Western societies, because there is a rise of surveillance capitalism and has pushed back democracy in many areas of our life. Some people even argue for a new God, a digital God, as super intelligence is taking over. It would be so smart, they argue, that we should basically do what super intelligence tells us to do. And we would see a new political system too, where we're being nudged to do what politics thinks is the right thing to do. A digital sector would be built and we would be manipulated with personalized information. Some people call it even mind control, such as Tristan Harris, who worked in a Google control room for some time. But this is not where things will end. Actually, there is a lot of work on neurotechnology right now. These would be potential human-machine interfaces based on nanotechnology. So here we read, nanoscience and nanotechnology are poised to provide a rich toolkit of novel methods to explore brain function by enabling simultaneous measurement and manipulation of activity of thousands or even millions of neurons. So this is happening, and people even are trying to do brain mapping and even to upload our minds. That sounds like science fiction, and so far it probably is, but technology is already heading towards this, and the question is, will we see a new human? So you've heard about cyborgs, you've heard about Elon Musk's Neuralink project. The following slide is, of course, just a funny illustration. So will we soon have brain implants? That's a question that we should ask, because some people think there will be a human-machine convergence and might go so far that we may not be able to distinguish in the future anymore between man and machine. Our future ancestors would basically be machines. And Some people think the age of humans, the Anthropocene, would basically be replaced by an age of robots, Robotocene in a sense. All of that comes also with new priorities. Some people think we need to learn now to die in the Anthropocene because we're overusing the Earth's resources, and we'll see a collapse of our old economy. We'll see a population collapse as well, as the Club of Rome's limit to growth study, for example, implies. And so we would see ethical dilemmas where not everyone would be able to live with the resources that we have. So some people claim. And so we would have to take decisions who would have to die and who would have to live on. That brings us to the ethical dilemma of the trolley problem, which has been discussed a lot in connection with autonomous cars. So there are really serious ethical issues to be discussed over here. And some people are already working to develop software that decides over life and death. And some of that software is already, it seems, in use to take triage decisions in connection with COVID-19. So people ask, if not everyone can survive, who should survive? Grandmother or an unemployed person, just to be a bit provocative. Actually, these are shocking scenarios that we need to face. And in particular, this also means we may have to reorganize our entire society to increase the chance of survival and fairness in this future age that is coming upon us. And so I have proposed to build Democracy 2.0 and Capitalism 2.0 to increase our chances of survival. So all of that comes with great opportunities, as I indicated before, but also huge ethical challenges. And this calls also for a digitization 2.0, an inclusive and fair digital transformation. Citizens shouldn't be the laboratory rats of the digitization, said the data privacy officer in Switzerland. But in many areas, we've seen actually that people have been treated almost like objects by big data algorithms and the way we govern societies with artificial intelligence. So we need to discuss how to engineer a more responsible digital future that we can trust, that we would really love to live in. And we should think about turning war rooms into peace rooms, which requires a much higher degree of transparency, a democratic framework of operation, interdisciplinary teams, ethical experts, a multi-perspective approach, and also participatory opportunities. In fact, the subject of digital ethics has become a big subject also in industry. So companies are working on products to make money, and Europe is at the forefront of this. We should design AI systems for values, for constitutional and our cultural and human values. And as you know, the German President Steinmeier has actually called for a democratization of the digital. So if we take him seriously, then we should build digital democracy. That means upgrade democracy with digital means, unleash collective intelligence with digital support, and we should build democracy by design, which means we need to build the platforms in a way that incorporates those values that we have basically accomplished over hundreds of years. Human rights, human dignity, freedom, self-determination, pluralism, protection of minorities, division of power, checks and balances, participation, transparency, fairness, justice, legitimacy, privacy, protection from misuse, and all these kinds of things. And it would require in particular a platform for informational self-determination, where we would have a personal AI-based digital assistant would help us to manage our personal data the way we would like to have it. So we would be able to determine what's happening with our personal data. But besides this, we shouldn't forget that not everything can be measured well, and not everything is mapped well by big data, and particularly those non-material things such as human dignity, love, freedom, creativity, consciousness, things that are extremely important for us humans, for being human. And if we forget about them, our society would be pretty inhumane. And there's also self-organization. I think that self-organization will become ever more important as the digital revolution progresses, because data volume is overtaking processing power, and systemic complexity is overtaking data volume as we go on networking the world. So we are currently experiencing a transition from a component-dominated to an interaction-dominated world. And that really implies huge opportunities through combinatorial innovation if we're just open enough to share with others. So different applications could actually interact and add to each other. So the goal would be to build an information innovation production and service ecosystem where everyone can contribute and everyone can benefit easily. I'd like to conclude with this slide, which basically says network effects make all the difference. So it can promote collective intelligence. That means a better, a more powerful democracy, a more resilient society too. Can promote combinatorial innovation in the interest of our economy. And it can also promote something I haven't talked about yet, a multi-dimensional real-time feedback system for nature, so we would live soon in a sustainable society, hopefully. Thank you very much for your interest.